Hello everybody and welcome to a mod showcase video. This video is we're going to cover easy development controls. Easily a required mod for any PC player. You're going to see that this mod has true power and quite frankly might replace several other mods that you already have in your mod folder. We're going to show you single player permissions, and in this video we're also going to talk about multiplayer permissions, and that's where this mod really shines. Now when you load up a save game for the very first time and you have easy dev controls enabled, you may get a little info screen down in the center, and I want to show that to you here just in case for some reason it doesn't pop up. It's going to tell you that in order to open easy dev controls, you're going to need to hit F12. That's going to be the default. Now, if you're on Steam, F12 also takes a screenshot. So we're going to talk real quick about how to change that key binding so you don't take a screenshot every time you want to open easy dev controls. We also have a quick toggle for the HUD in scroll lock. We can delete objects, very powerful option, very dangerous option also, by hitting delete key after we enable the delete object functionality. We can increase our running speed by just hitting the N key, and we can toggle super strength on and off by hitting the home key on our keyboard. And all of these are modifiable within the in-game menu options. So let's go ahead and talk about that. From our escape menu, we're going to come here to settings, we're going to go to controls, and we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom till we get to where all of our mods are listed, and we're going to find a section specific to easy development controls. And from here, well, we can say I'm on Steam. I don't want F12 to always open up my easy dev controls and take a screenshot. I recommend doing Shift F12. That won't take a screenshot and ultimately will still open up easy dev controls. If you want to change the running speed hotkey or maybe turn it off entirely, you can do that. Delete object. You know what? Toggle HUD. My keyboard actually doesn't have scroll lock on it, oddly enough. So I'm just going to change this to page down. Sure. So now we've got that set to page down, and super strength is fine. Once we've done that, we're going to hit save, and Bob's your uncle. We're good to go. So let's come back here and go ahead and open up easy dev controls. F12 is the default, but remember I changed it to Shift F12. So there you go. The way easy dev controls is set up, we have several sections. We have a general section. We have a section related to your player, objects and fill types, vehicles. We have to be in a vehicle, typically for this to function. Placeables. Some of these we have to be close to a tip trigger in order to function. Fields and farmlands. Environment. And then a help screen. There's one more permission screen that's going to pop if you are on a dedicated server. We're going to be talking about that in a later section of the video. From the help screen, we can go to each of these general sections, and it's going to give us a little bit of information about each option. And you can use this as a frame of reference as to maybe what value to put in. For example, set snow, or just what does this do again? Although I would really prefer you just come back and watch this video over and over and over and over, because we're going to go through as many of these as possible in this video, explaining exactly what they do. We're going to hit C to remove background, right? That just kind of works if you want to see what's going on. Or you can hit C to bring the background back. Add money. Pretty straightforward, right? We have $8,283,000 and some odd cents there. Well, let's go in here to Easy Dev Controls, and let's set our money amount to $0. So we're going to click on that. We're going to hit enter. And now our bank balance is set to 0. And we can see that in the HUD. This will make it easy when we say we want to add money. I want to add $500,000 to my bank account. So we type out $500,000. We hit enter, and now we have $500,000 to our bank account. If I want to remove money, let's say I want to remove $250,000. We're going to type that in there. We're going to hit enter. And now our bank account has been reduced by $250,000. This is going to be great for players that want to set up a role play. Maybe they want to have a very specific amount of money to start. Maybe they want to start out with 0 money. This is going to easily allow them to do that. Or if you just need to add some money in order to just get you up to that next level in order to buy a piece of machinery, well, you can do that here quite easily. Extra time scales, right? If we take a look here, by default, we can increase our time all the way up to 360, and that's it. Let's take this thing back down. Let's go back into easy dev controls, turn extra time scales on, and exit. Now, if we hit 8, we are able to go up to 360, 500, 2,000, 5,000, 10, 20, 40, 60,000 X. So it's now October. A lot of time has passed. Be very, very careful when you are fast forwarding like that, because the game does need to process things on a daily basis. So fast forwarding through lots of days, super fast, can cause some things to lag behind, like growth. So just be very cautious when you do enable extra time scales. I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off so we don't accidentally bump time again. Stop time. Pretty straightforward. It sets the clock to 0. It will never progress past 8:01 a.m. on November until I add more time. And we add more time by hitting 8. And now we've changed it back to a time scale of 3. So if we need to stop time, maybe we're right at the end of the day. We got to get a whole bunch of fields harvested. There's rain in the forecast, and you just got to get things done. You can stop the time, get what you need done, and then start time running again. HUD visibility on or off. Pretty straightforward. We have no HUD. Turn it back on, and we have HUD again. Remember our hotkey HUD input on or off? Well, we can come here and we can change the HUD on or off by simply hitting our hotkey. Back to Easy Dev Controls menu. Delete objects input, off or on. We're going to turn this on. This now allows us to delete things. Very dangerous, very powerful, so use caution. So for example, we could just delete this by just walking up to it and hitting delete. Okay? We've not sold it. We've deleted it. It's basically removed from the save game. Do you have a thing for trees? Do you have a problem running into trees? Do you maybe want to get rid of trees, but just don't like cutting them down and dealing with all that? Just delete the tree and be done with it. Pretty straightforward. I don't like this tree. Go away. It's now deleted. It's out of the save game. It's gone. It'll never come back. So very, very powerful. That's why when you want to delete something, you need to come in here and turn it on. Once you've deleted what you need to delete, you can turn it back off. You can also delete things like bales, extra bales. Did you buy a pallet of something you didn't mean to buy? Well, you can delete pallets. You can delete bales. You can delete just about anything on the save game. Show bale locations. Pretty straightforward. If we turn it on and we come here and check our mini map, I don't happen to have any bales on this save game, I don't think. But if we did, we'd have a whole bunch of little dots showing up on the screen. We can come back to this in a little bit because we're going to be spawning some bales and we're going to be spawning some pallets later on. Show pallet locations, on or off. We're just going to leave those on for now. Teleport to a map section to a specific coordinates, or we can teleport to specific farmlands. Farmland ID 5. Here we are. It's going to teleport us to the middle of a field. We can come back in here and we can go teleport to a map section. We're going to click on the checkbox. We're going to basically decide where we want to be. We're going to click the direction we want to be facing. And there we go. Now we're at the shop. Pretty cool. Flip vehicles. I need to be in a vehicle. And basically, if we were upside down, let's remove background. We can come in here, we can flip vehicle, and it would flip us back over. Very convenient if we're just doing something crazy and wacky and we've managed to completely flip ourselves upside down and we can't figure out how to get ourselves righted back over again. Well, we have that capability. Set FOV. This was cool. Before you could change your FOV in the normal settings, but you can still change it here if you want to. Set quality. This is really cool. So let's go and jump out of our tractor. And let's come over here to, let's come over here to something like this. So I want to take a screenshot of this. But in order to run my game, I usually run my game at, let's say I run on medium settings. Okay. Well, what this allows you to do is, let's say we run on medium settings. Okay. So here we are running on medium, the default medium settings. Okay. And I can come in here and I can say, turn the HUD off, and I can change this to ultra settings. And now when I come back, HUD's gone. My graphic settings have been changed to ultra. And now I can take a screenshot. High quality screenshot. Your frames may be impacted by this because ultra changes the view distances of everything. So you get really, really far view distances. Your frames may absolutely tank. You don't want to play the game this way, but you do want to use this possibly as a way of getting nice quality screenshots. So let's come back in here. Let's change it back to our user settings, and let's turn our HUD back on. Show collectibles is going to be available in single player only. We can do standard, which means it doesn't show us any collectibles. We can see 100% found, and when we do that, if we pull up the main PDA, if we had collectibles on here, I may have already run around and collected them all. Not very convenient to demonstrate this. Very good, is it? But at any rate, we would see little dots scattered around the PDA, which would show us where our collectibles are. We would see them on our mini map. And we could basically walk up to them and get fairly close by locating the little dot with our character down there and find the collectibles. We can do it for 100%, or we could say, you know what, just show me 50. And I'll have to find the other 50 by myself. So kind of a cool feature there. If you ever were not sure, hey, does this map even have collectibles? Because I've been looking all over the place and I haven't found a darn one. We can go and say show collectibles and see if that little dot pops up. If you don't see little dots pop up on the PDA, the map doesn't have collectibles, regardless of what the stats screen says. Clear i3D cache. Well, you come in here, we get clear i3D cache. Check, done. Reload store items. Check, done. Basically, maybe something's not showing up right in the store. You can do that, and you're ready to go. With respect to player options, you can turn super strength on or off from here. You can turn the super strength input on or off, which means your hotkey you can toggle on and off. You can turn flight mode on, and you can enable the flight mode state. Now, with flight mode turned on and flight mode state set, Q will let you go up, and E will let you go down, and J will basically turn flight mode off. Once flight mode is turned off, you can enable flight again by holding Q and J. You'll take off, and now you can just kind of move around. and experience the map. While we're up here, let's go and change that again to Ultra, just to show you kind of what that does. User settings, Ultra, and look, the circle is nearly gone with respect to your crop. We see a lot more trees off in the distance, a lot more quality of the trees, but my frames, well, I can tell they are pretty well impacted. So let's come back here, change it back to user input. Turn off flight mode. Jump delay, if you want to have a jump delay, you can introduce jump delay here. I set this to no jump delay. Jump multiplier, how high do you jump? Change your jump height. Pretty fly for a white guy, right? Let's go back here and change that back to 1.2. Do you want to run, and do you want to run fast? So that's a 4x multiplier. Let's go to, I don't know, 12. Right? Really let you run around and get where you need to go pretty darn quick. No clip, on or off. Let's turn it on. And now I'm walking through walls. I cannot be constrained by any means. Pretty cool, huh? Wood cutting marker, on or off, right? So do you want the little circle when you got the chainsaw out? You can turn that on and off. Aim marker, on or off. I've got that turned off because I can't stand that little circle. I use a different mod to do that, but you could just disable it with easy dev controls, just like that. Single player, well, we can't really set the farm because we are the farm in single player. Debugs. This is going to be great for modders or mappers in order to use these debug tools. Objects and fill types. Remember I said we were going to make some bales happen? So this is where we can spawn bales, we can spawn pallets, we can spawn logs, and, well, we can do all types of things. So let's just go here to available bale types. We'll get a nice scrolling list showing us all of the available bale types on the map. Basically how big the bales are, what fill types each bale supports. And this is just going to be a great little frame of reference, especially if maybe the map has other forage types added, and you might be wondering, well, can I make a clover hay bale? Well, you can see, is clover hay or clover dry windrow available through this listing. We're going to spawn a round bale, and we're going to spawn a 180 centimeter round bale. We're going to make it straw, and, well, there you go. We're going to do another one. Let's spawn a square bale. Let's make it grass. Let's wrap it, and let's pick something fun to wrap it as. Kloss red. Sure, make it happen. There you go. We now have spawned some bales. Let's go in here and spawn some pallets. We have some options. We can toggle through various farm products. We can toggle through general pallets. We can toggle through crops, big bags, mods and DLCs, if any mods and DLCs have bags. So let's just spawn a pallet of solid fertilizer. There you go. Let's go and spawn something else. Let's spawn a full pallet of cement bricks. There we go. We could also come in here and spawn just a partial pallet. Let's say we're going to spawn a partial pallet of cheese. 500. There you go. Now we have a partial pallet of cheese, 500 liters. Remember I mentioned that we had show bales and pallets? Well, now that we have some bales, now that we have some pallets, you can see we've got little dots. They were bales, and we have our pallets. So if you're having a problem like, where are all my bales at? Well, you can pop that up. You can see them easily on the PDA. And then when you're done, you can come here and disable show bale, show pallets, and they won't appear anymore. Remember I mentioned we could delete things? Delete object input on. Well, I don't want this anymore, so we're just going to delete that. We're going to delete this. We're going to delete this because we don't need it. We can delete our bale and that bale, and now we're back. Turn that off so we don't accidentally delete anything else. If we had a listing of fermenting bales, well, we could see which bales are fermenting and what state they're in. We'll see how many bales we have on the save game here. And if we click this, very, very dangerous, this will delete every bale on the map. If maybe you have way too many bales, you're having performance problems, and you just want to make them go away, this will do it. Just be very cautious. This will delete every bale. No questions asked other than that one. Same thing, remove pallets. We have 2 pallets on this save game. One right here, and one in the barn. Right? Shift F12. That's because we modified. Remove pallets. Yes, do it. It's gone. My B pallet's gone. Very powerful, very dangerous. Be very careful enacting such remove pallets, remove bales. I absolutely hate forestry. But sometimes, well, you just need to do it. So you can come in here and add a log. What type of log do you want to add? And then what size log do you want to add? And then just make it happen. So we now have a 2-meter log that we spawned of Chinese elm. We can plant a tree. Yep, that's fine. Done. There's your tree. Obviously, we toggle through all the different trees, different growth stages that we want to put in there, different rotations. And is this tree going to grow, or is it just merely decoration? There you go. This is going to be how many trees or logs are on the map. 13,173 of a limit of 14,000. So this might be a good way of knowing, hey, if I try to plant a tree, it says too many trees, delete some. You might be able to tell from here, how far above the limit are you? Remove split shaped logs. Remember I spawned a log? That was a mistake. I really didn't want that log. Remove split shaped logs. Yes. It's gone. Thank you. Thank you very much. You got a ton of stumps because you went a little crazy cutting down trees. You hate stumps. Maybe you got a stubborn stump that just won't go away. I want to remove all the stumps on the map. Done. They're gone. You don't have to worry about clearing them out. Did I mention that easy def controls should be a staple for every PC player? Yeah, I think you kind of see some of the power that we've got going on here. Let's come back in here. I need some product, and sadly, I didn't plant any potatoes, but I need potatoes. So I'm going to spawn some potatoes 14 meters away. I need 10,000 liters of potatoes for whatever job I want to do. Here's 10,000 liters worth of potatoes. Done. Straightforward. Pretty easy. Clear tip area. I didn't mean to do that. I really meant to spawn something different. So I went to clear the tip area. All, I can just clear it of potatoes. I can clear it of everything. Okay. Let's say you have a field. Let's say you windrowed straw for some reason, but you don't want it on the field anymore. You can come in here, you can give it a radius of specific diameter, or you can say, you know what, farmland ID 33. I want to clear everything that's on farmland ID 33 as far as a tip area. That's going to be windrows, things that you tip on the ground. So let's come back here and just do a radius 35 meters, clear all. Yes. My potatoes are gone. No problem whatsoever. Anything else, though, that I had on the ground here would leave too. Very dangerous if you're doing this around a silage pit, because silage is going to vanish. Chaff is going to vanish. Maybe you've got a silage pit that you just can't quite get cleaned up. Clear the tip area, a radius around the silage pit, poof, it's empty, and now you can use it all over again. Show tip collisions, on or off. Pretty straightforward there. Let's go back here to our vehicles. So let's jump into a vehicle. We can reload the vehicle. We can reload and reset. Just like that. I had an instance the other day where I couldn't use universal autoload on a truck. It just wouldn't pick up bales, no matter what. I reset it back to the shop. I jumped in it, drove it all the way back to the farm, and it worked. Had I had easy dev controls, I could have just reloaded and reset right here where I was, and that would have fixed the problem. Analyze vehicle, right? So we can hit that, get some debug information about the vehicle. Let me back up and load into a trailer, or attach this to a trailer to show you the next section. So we can use the next section on anything that holds product. A trailer, a seeder, a planter, harvester, a baler, windrower, no, not a windrower. You get my point, right? So let's go here. Let's come here to fill unit. Well, we can go wheat, barley, oats, right? Pretty much anything that will go into this trailer. We can say fill it, done. Now we have 8,000 liters worth of corn in our trailer. We can empty it just like this, or we could come in here and set a very specific amount that we want to add. And now we have 500 liters worth of corn because that's what we've set up. Maybe, just maybe, you've got a contract and you're having issues with that contract completing. You just need to add a little bit more and you'll get it to complete. Well, you come in here, you can spawn some product into your trailer, you can dump it, you can get the contract complete, you can stop dumping it, you can empty your trailer, and you finish the job. It's not cheating, it's fixing a problem. And that's what EasyDev controls. It's all about fixing problems. You can toggle the cover on and off. You can set the condition of your vehicle. So if you are maybe looking at a mod and you're just curious, I wonder what this looks like with full dirt. Well, we can come in here, we can set dirt to 100%. And now we can see what this thing looks like fully dirty. We could come in here, we could say, I want to see what it looks like full wear and full dirt. There we go. Now we're full wear, we're full dirt. Looks like we're full wet too. Or we can come back and basically set everything back to pristine condition. We can set the fuel level. We've now run out of fuel. We can set it to a specific amount. Or we could fill it completely full. You see there, we're blinking red because we only have 20 liters of fuel. We can adjust our engine temperature, operating time. Currently it's set to 81 hours. I want this to have 1 hour of operating time. And now on our little HUD down there, we have 1 hour of operating time on our Challenger. Just like remove bales, just like remove pallets, remove vehicles is very dangerous. This will remove all the vehicles on the map. Be very cautious about clicking on that unless you literally want to get rid of every vehicle on the map. Maybe it's handy for things you can't sell. They've got a map, rather popular map, came out recently. It's got a bunch of stuff at the shop. Maybe it's causing you some performance issues. Maybe you want to get rid of them. Click this, but do it before you buy your own stuff because this will remove everything. Very dangerous. Just warning you. We can modify the wiper. We can turn it on. We can turn it off. Or we can just set to be affected by the rain. Pretty good for people who are working on vehicles as far as modding. They can just basically say, you know what, turn the wipers on. I want to make sure they work. Vehicle distance, vehicle debug. We can turn our tension belts debug on and off. Again, what's the name of this mod? Easy development controls. Who's really going to get the most power out of this? Modders and mappers, people who are developing for the game. Can a regular player use it? By all means. You've got a lot of capabilities here. By all means, take advantage. Placeables. Well, we can get a listing of all the productions on the map, and we want to pay close attention to this PP number. Production point number 2. It's the BGA. 3 is the bakery, canning factory, etc. But we can see here how much it costs, who owns it, how many productions are available, and where it is on the map, what it is, and its production point number. That'll be very convenient here in a little bit. We can come here to this. We can go NPC. We can go set owner. We can go to my farm. We can hit confirm. We now own all the productions on the map. Just that quick. We can come here to farm owned. We don't own any, but we can say set owner. We can set it to NPC. We've now sold all our productions on the map. Let's go ahead and do that. Set owner, my farm. Done. We come here to our productions now. And we own all the productions. We can come back here to easy dev controls. We can go to farm owned, set owner, NPC, confirm. We've now sold all our productions. So we can see owned, none, available, yes. We can come here to production point 2. We can set the owner of just one production point. And now we own production point 2. We can come back to production point 2, or we can come back to farm owned. Or you saw an option said this trigger. So let's visit a production point in the bakery. And we can come here to current trigger. And we can modify things from here. We can enable or disable the production for various states. We can change the output mode for various things from easy dev controls. And we can change the fill level for input or output. So we can say, you know what, I want to fill all the input and I want to fill the output. And now, if we take a look at production point 2, which is the bakery, it has filled all the inputs. It's filled all the outputs. It doesn't show cakes are full because, well, a bunch of cakes have spawned. Now, when I was demonstrating this, I didn't own it. So I went in and I set myself as owner of production point 2, and that's when things started to spawn out. But you get the idea. We come here to delivery mapping, and let's modify this delivery mapping. Let's set this to distributing, and then we can come here, delivery mapping. So bakery is distributing bread to the following production points. Well, none get distributed to from the bread from the bakery, but you kind of see what would happen here if we had, let's say, a greenhouse that was distributing. We could see the greenhouse was maybe sending products to the bakery, and then maybe we were sending products from the sawmill to our carpentry. We would see that all listed here. Very convenient. We can reload placeables. We can remove placeables. Remember what I say about removing things. Be very cautious about that. And we can remove map placeables here as well. Then we've got various debug options. Fields and farmlands. This is going to be super, super convenient and powerful, especially for anyone who wants to set up a role play or is just setting up a new save and wants certain crops in certain fields. So here we are, farmland ID 15. We're going to come to fields and farmlands. I'm going to remove the background here just so we can see what happens. We're going to say set field fruit. We're going to get a completely different menu here. Field 15. It's automatically detected there's cotton here. I don't want cotton. No. I want something better. I want wheat. I want it to be small growing. I want to set the ground type to feed bed. Ground layer is none. Does it need plowed? Or is it plowed? Yes. Did we stubble or did we mulch? Sure. Does it need rolling? No. It's 100% fertilized. It doesn't need lime. And let's go ahead and buy the field while we're at it. And confirm and close. And now, well, look. We have wheat. It's growing. And everything is hunky-dory. So let's talk about the next one, which is going to be set field ground. So if here on field 4, we've got plowed ground, I want to change it to cultivated ground. And let's say it's fully fertilized, it's fully limed. We did stubble, doesn't need rolling, it doesn't need remove foliage, and it's been plowed. Sure. And now it's cultivated soil. Fields and farmlands allows the following changes to be made to the rice field in range: fruit, growth, angle, and water fill. So we already have to have had a rice field. This will set the rice field state, not create a rice field. Similar to that, set vine state. We need to be close to grapevines, and we can basically set the growth state of those grapevines. Update grapevine visuals. Pretty straightforward. If we need to update those because they're not synced for some reason, we can come back here and go back to our fields and farmlands. We've disabled weeds on this game save, but we could affect weeds here. We could change the state of field stones. We can set what month we are in. Just like that. We can change the farmland owner from my farm to NPC. We've basically just sold this field. We didn't get any money for it, but we basically have sold it. Maybe we have farmland where we have buildings on a farmland and we can't sell it normally because it says you can't sell this farmland because there's already placeables on it. Come in here to Easy Dev Controls and say, you know what? I can sell it. I can get rid of it. Set it to the farmland you want to get rid of. Set the owner NPC. Done. You no longer own that farmland, and those buildings are still there. Pretty handy. Now, with respect to weather, well, we can set when do we want the clock to be. Do we want it to be a different month other than the month it's currently in? What time do we want to set it to be? We can just change it. Reload weather. Reload the environment. Have you ever had a thunderstorm when it's out sunny? You just have the endless loop of thunder, but the weather isn't raining. Well, you can fix that by reloading the environment, reloading the weather. Maybe you want to take a screenshot, but the weather's just not cooperating with you. Or you want to do a role play, but you don't want it to be raining. You want it to be sunny. Well, you can set the weather here to whatever you want, whatever variation you want, and there you go. Now it's raining. Now it's sunny. Now it's cloudy. You kind of get the point, right? Remove tire tracks. This is extremely handy. Again, if you are doing screenshots, like you might be staging a bunch of stuff and you just don't want tire tracks all over the place. Before, you'd have to save the game, exit, come back in, and all your tire tracks would vanish. But with this, if you do have tire tracks popping up here, I just want to drive in the dirt, so hopefully we get some tire tracks. Yep, there we go. Right, we've got tire tracks. We're going to come in here, remove all tire tracks. They're gone. Add snow. It's going to add snow across the entirety of the map from north to south. There you go. We've just added snow. Remove snow. You're going to remove the snow. You set the amount of snow that you get. You can add a layer of salt. You can modify the weather, direction the wind blows, or you can debug various weather and things. Again, that's going to be for modders and mappers. Now let's jump and talk about multiplayer permissions. Now, where Easy Dev Controls really shows its strength, it's not in single player, it's in multiplayer. And to demonstrate the power of multiplayer, I've loaded Easy Dev Controls up on my dedicated multiplayer server, which is sponsored by Gportal. By the way, if you are looking for a great multiplayer host, then I would recommend Gportal. For farm sim servers, they're going to offer up to 25 gigs of mod space, industry leading, if you ask me. And if you're not looking at farm sim dedicated servers, they've got servers for well over 100 other games across PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. But we're not here to talk about Gportal. We're going to be talking about the power of Easy Dev Controls in a multiplayer session. So to do that, we're going to launch the Easy Dev Controls menu. F12 is, of course, the default keybind, but if you've changed that keybind, then you're going to use whatever you've set it to. When we load in, we're going to see lots of things are grayed out. Certain things we just cannot change. But that's not because they are locked out in multiplayer. It's because they are locked out by the level of player we are currently at. Because we have a whole new screen that is available to us in the Easy Dev Controls interface, and that is going to be the lock screen for permissions. And if we scroll through this, you'll see that there are several permissions that we can set up for different levels of player. So, for example, the default for flip vehicles is Farm Manager, but the default for Super Strength is Admin. Sadly, we can't change certain things in multiplayer. They're still locked out no matter what level we are. And some things are elevated even further from Server Admin to Easy Dev Controls Admin. And we're going to talk about that here in a moment. But you can see we've got a vast array of permissions that are available to us. And we're not locked into these permissions. We can come in here and we can modify these permissions to some degree. And in order to do that, we have to first log in to the server as server admin. Once we've logged in as server admin, though, well, you see we still don't have the ability to modify any permissions. But if we come back, you're going to see that certain things are now available to us. They're no longer grayed out because we now have a higher level of permission on the server, and more things by default are granted to server admins as opposed to a standard player. But we want to elevate ourselves once further. So we're going to come back to our permission screen. We're going to go to login as EDC admin. Now the default EDC admin password is the same as your admin server password. Now you're going to want to change that as soon as you log in here to start setting things up. You want a different password for EDC level because you might want to share your admin password out with other folks, but you might not necessarily want them going in here and doing certain other things with respect to Easy Dev Controls. So let's go ahead and log in as that Easy Dev admin. And once we do that, we now have the ability to modify permissions. So we can come here to cheat money. Who's allowed to cheat money? The EDC admin only, farm manager, or admin. So we have 3 options for that one. Extra time scales, we have EDC admin and admin. So not everything is going to be able to be lowered down to farm manager level. Who can stop time on the server? We're talking about admin or EDC admin. Who can delete objects? Admin or EDC admin. Teleport, obviously we have from a standard user, farm manager, admin, or EDC admin. So you can just say, well, anybody can teleport around. It's fine with me. Anybody can flip a vehicle back around because, well, things happen. Show collectibles, reload store items. Those are going to be locked to single player only. Who has the ability to enable or disable super strength? Well, we may want to limit that to farm manager. No clip, single player only. Set farm is not an option here because we have other ways of doing that with respect to our multiplayer controls. Who can add a bale? Who can add a pallet? Who can add a log? Who can tip to ground? And who can clear the tip area? Who is able to just randomly fill vehicles worth of stuff? Who can modify the condition of a vehicle? Who can modify the fuel level of the vehicle? Who can modify the engine temperature? And who can modify the operating time of the vehicle? Who can modify production points? Who can do tip to trigger on production points? And then we have fields and farmland. Who can set the crop on a field? Who can set the field ground type? Who can set if it's a rice field or not? Vine state, advanced growth. Who can modify stones and weeds on a field? Who can do the growth pattern? And who can set the farmland owner? Who can change the time on the server? Who can add snow? And who can add salt to the server at large? And then once we're done, we can hit save. And that's going to save the settings out to an XML file that's in your save game. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of a word of caution. And that is that the EDC password is also written out to a file in your save game. So technically, if you have other people on your server that have access to download your save game off the server, they in theory have access to figure out what your EDC admin password is, because it is stored in plain text in an XML file in the save game folder. Standard player, if they can't get to the dedicated server, if they can't download the save game, then your EDC password is saved. Now that we've modified our permissions, if we were a regular player or just a farm manager or just an admin, well, we can see now that we have a vast different amount of permissions available to us. And that is really where Easy Dev Controls shines as far as having true power. So I hope that has given you an appreciation for the power of Easy Dev Controls. Easy Dev Controls first made its way to FarmSim in FarmSim 19, version 2.0 for FarmSim 22, and now version 3.0, improved above FS22's version in FarmSim 25. An essential mod for any PC player. You're going to find a use case for this mod in your gameplay, regardless if you play super realistically or if you play casually and you just want to set something up, have fun with your friends. Well, you're going to have all the power in the world to set your save game up in single player, upload it to the server, configure your multiplayer permissions so your friends can have fun and make use of certain features of Easy Dev Controls, but at the same time, maybe not necessarily breaking the whole economy of the gameplay itself. And then it's all about having fun. Play your way, because that's the right way. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below with respect to Easy Dev Controls. Did you play with it in Farm Sim 19, 22? Are you going to use it in Farm Sim 25? Is this mod new to you? And what do you think after seeing this? Are you going to add it to your save game? Until next time, happy farming.